And so I'm not going to take long. I just want to say there would be no Mission 186 if we did not have the original visionary, and that is our mayor. And she'll share in her comments why she created essentially the Mayor's Office of African American Male Engagement, not to exclude anybody, but to begin to include everybody. And so without further ado, I just want to bring up my boss, in our sphere of influence in City Hall, our leader, Mayor Catherine E. Pugh.
Good morning, everybody. So first, let's just give Dr. Bunley a big round of applause. And I say that for the work that he is doing, for the work that he's on a mission to do, and for the work that he will do. Because I believe that, first of all, you have to have someone who can really catch the vision, and I think that he has vision. And so early on in our administration, I think many of you, some of you who are sitting in this room, we did what we called a call to action. Because one of the things that I continue to say is that we can't do this by ourselves. It is really how we partner and work together to solve the many problems that the city is facing. And so I'm excited to have real partners. And I remember that first meeting when I think nearly close to 100 people came together. And then we met again over at Baltimore City Community College to talk about how we engage each other. And then we still continue to meet twice a month in City Hall, a group of individuals who have now become a part of our call to action group. And so I was committed to cultivating that group, and in fact, received almost $500,000 from the Weinberg Foundation to just grow that group, because inside of that group were small groups and organizations and individuals with ideas that needed to be nurtured. And so we're nurturing that group. But also inside of that group were a group of young men and African American males in our community who talked about some of the issues facing African American men. And I can tell you, having been a champion for a long time around issues impacting the African American community, I knew that it was important to focus on the problems facing African American males. And I can tell you that this work didn't just begin. When I was running for the state Senate of Maryland, I will never forget stopping at a local business and asking an individual if I could put a sign up. And he said to me, "I have to go get my boss." And his boss comes running out and he says to me, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "No." I've learned to say no, because you know if you say yes, then they start saying, "Well, where do you know me from?" I said, "No." He said, and so he said, "You were my graduation speaker." So as I'm looking at him, I'm thinking perhaps high school, maybe college, because I'd done a number of those speeches. And he said, "No, in prison." I said, "Wow." He said, "But I never forgot what you said." He said, "Here's what you said, Madam Senator, because you're going to be a senator. You said, 'Congratulations, guys, you got your GED. I'm proud of you, but you got a long road to toe. But let me make a suggestion. If there's anybody in this room who has a capacity or capability to start your own business, do so.' I said, because nobody walks into anybody's business and asks them what your background is. What they care about is your quality of service, so do good service." He said, "That was me 5 years ago. This is one business. So when you go across town, I want you to put a sign on this business, but I want you to also go across town and put a sign on my other business." I didn't get across town because I was running in that particular district at the time, but I did put my sign up on that business. And then when I did get to the Senate, I want you to know that I wrote legislation, because that just really touched me, requiring the state of Maryland to create opportunities for African American males and males in general who are coming out of our penal system to create their own businesses. And Stanley Tucker, for those of you who don't know, a returning citizen, an ex-offender, who ran the Maryland Small Business Development Financing Authority, walked up to me and said, "I cannot believe you passed this legislation." So he took over the class. He's graduated a number of individuals from our returning citizen community who are now starting and expanding their businesses. That is a minute part of what we need to do in our city. When I think about the number of individuals who are unemployed in our city, African American males being among the highest. When I think about the inequities in terms of those who are creating and expanding their businesses, we are the lowest. When I think about the future of our young people, I think about what pathways are we creating to help them to determine their success. And today, more than ever, in spite of whatever problems we may be facing in our police department, because we make a concerted effort to hire individuals living in our city, which has increased almost 25% in just the last year and a half. Average age 27. We've got a lot of work to do as it relates to policing in our communities, but part of what we must do, and I'm church going, and the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. And I believe that we have a responsibility to touch every young person in our community to help make sure that we turn their lives around, that we direct them, and even those who've fallen, that we lift them up and we push them forward. That is our responsibility as a community. And so the African American Male Initiative is to help us realize that we all have a role and responsibility in terms of how we lift our African American male community. I purposely, when I went out to search for different positions in the city, for example, looking at parks and recreation, I wanted an African American male because I needed our young people to see the qualities that could exist in them. And it is so important that we showcase that every opportunity that we get, and that we learn how to partner with our brothers and sisters of other races, of other cultures, because that's how we transform our city and transform our communities. And so I'm excited about the work. And so as I began to look at how do we change Baltimore in a very positive way, and you all should know, in spite of the media, in spite of the press, in spite of the negativity, we're trending downward as it relates to violence. We're trying to think outside of the box. We are thinking outside of the box. When I think about walking into the mayor's office and folks telling me we got garages and we need to sell them because the city needs money. And I said, but the garages are assets that the city owns. We're not selling them. So I didn't sell them, but what I did do was lease them because we still own them and we earn income, and we were able to capitalize them and raise a $57 million investment fund to invest in neighborhoods and communities that have been underinvested in for decades. We cut the ribbon on 5 brand new schools in Baltimore. Before I left the Senate, in 2013, that's just this week, you all, in 2013, we brought back $1.2 billion, $1.2 billion to build 28 new schools in Baltimore City. We will build more new schools in Baltimore City than the entire state of Maryland. And while we stand here and we're happy about that, and I'm glad that you are applauding that effort, it is just the beginning. Because we have so many more schools. So we go back to Annapolis this year, looking for more billions of dollars to build more new schools, because every child deserves the very best. And when you walk into those schools and see the technology, in Pimlico Elementary School, we're directly across the street, were all boarded up houses. And I said to the city, we can change this. So we, the city, invested in that neighborhood, And now when you look across from Pimlico Elementary School, we laid the foundation, the city housing department, laid the foundation, lured a developer, and now we're able to offer to the people who have children in that school mortgages for $600 a month. And this is how untrusting we've become as a city. We said to the other folks who lived in the neighborhood, let us help you. We've got grants. We can fix your porches. We can fix your roofs. They're like scared because they waited so long and they don't believe anymore. So part of what has to happen here is that we've got to make people believe that change can come. And so we're fixing up their porches. We will fix up their roofs. We will fix their houses because we want when the children walk out the doors of those schools, they see community, a community that they want to be a part of. And part of that, again, you all, is lifting up our African American males. We have so much work to do. And Doc talks about the mission of 186,000 is the reality. African American males in our communities. No one should be left behind. No one should be forgotten. And they will tell you, I walk up and down Pennsylvania Avenue, you can find me on any street in this city. Because the one thing I don't fear is my people. But when we reach out, we need somebody to grab hold. And so many have given up that it's going to take more than just reaching out. It's going to take touching. And you'll see moving throughout the city our $500,000 van that I was able to get, because I said, you know, everybody's not going to come to where the job is. Let's take the jobs to the people. And that's what we're doing. So I'm not going to stay up here too much longer. I'm just glad to see you all here. And I'm hoping that this is a very productive day because we've got a lot of work to do, you all. It's about inspiring. It's about giving hope. It's about partnering. It's about listening. It's about hearing. It's about collaboration. It's about working together. And together, we can bring about the change that this city needs to see. God bless you all. No, Doc, I think I'm going to let you do that. Okay. I just know Leonard Ham. Leonard Ham is about to be presented with an award. But I know Leonard Ham as someone who's always been dedicated to our city, who's given a lot and still gives, and still mentors. And while you may not see him always on the front line, he's always available to be on the front line because he's been on the front line. He knows what it is to be on the front line. So Leonard, on behalf of the citizens of Baltimore and myself as the mayor of this great city, I say thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let me just I'm getting ready to bring up somebody that means something to me. I'm looking out and I see Israel on high school. And when I was up at White Lock in Brookfield, at 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, there was a police officer named Officer Ham. And for those of you, White Lock Street is like many other streets, but for those of you who know West Baltimore, White Lock Street was a place, you'd all laughing, so you understand. And everybody over there, particularly these males, thought they were tough. But this police officer, Leonard Ham, commanded respect. He commanded respect. But the command of respect, Ted, wasn't because the Billy Club that he had, I don't even remember seeing him swing his club. Back in the day, they had these clubs. I don't even remember seeing him swing it. But one of the things that I know is that when he moved in certain spaces, if it wasn't right, it got right. He was a man of direct action. He was a man, and is a man still, of love and strength. That's why I'm excited about what's going to happen in this town. We're going to really do a lot to get everybody involved in this movement for all of our people. And when I say our people, I'm talking about everybody on the racial and gender spectrum. But we have to have a model. We have to have models, role models, not models playing roles. Leonard Ham was a real role model. And so he's an author, he's a father, he's a husband, he was a big brother, he's just a lover of people. And so I want to bring him up now to share a few words. This is a model of direct action. Because Pastor Phillips, that's what we have to do, direct action. We got to do it hand to hand, face to face. And if you can't get in, like the mayor said, you can't help your people if you don't love your people, right? But if you don't want to be in the very spaces of the people you're trying to help, then they can't feel you. And so I felt him 20 years ago. He was up in my face. But he was up in my face manifesting strength and love. So without further ado, I bring to you former Commissioner, Chief again, Leonard Ham.
I can go home now, thank you. But giving honor to my God, good morning to all of you who are here on this day and this hour to continue some very important work that started many months ago. I'm humbled and delighted and very appreciative of this honor recognizing the work I've put in during my professional career. I'd like to thank Mayor Pugh and the Mayor's Office of African American Male Engagement, and especially to my friend and brother, Dr. Andre Bunley, for their leadership and vision in realizing the need for and value of Mission 186, Pathways Forward. Now, during my career, I've come to realize that every successful endeavor is the result of great leadership and solid relationships. And leadership, to me, is lifting a person's vision to higher heights, the raising of a person's performance to a higher standard, the building of a personality beyond its normal limitations. That's what leaders do. And my good friend, fellow City College Hall of Famer, class of 1965, he also was a Coppin State University graduate, class of 69, and the pastor of Huber Memorial Church. The Reverend P.M. Smith says, it's all about relationships. Rescue the children, redeem the family, recreate community. Now, Dr. Bunley and my relationship began many years ago on Whitelock Street, as he said. He was a youngster who had lost his mother, and he had to move to the Westport community. But every day he was back up on Whitelock Street. And invariably, he would miss that last bus leaving Whitelock going to Westport. Now, I was a police officer working that beat. And I made him get in my patrol car because I was going to take him home. And of course he protested because it wasn't the right thing to talk to police, and, I ain't want to be seen as being snitching. So I said, yeah, right, get in. So he would get into the patrol car in the back seat and lay down so he wouldn't be seen until we got out of the area. Well, I took him to his aunt's house at Westport, and that relationship turned into a friendship. I'm proud of my friendship with Andre Bundley, and I'm honored that he considers me his friend. He was a leader as a youngster on Whitelock Street, and he's the right person to lead Mission 186, Pathways Forwards. Now, relationships have been established, leadership is in place, and has revealed the mission. Now's the time. Now it is Baltimore's time. Again, I want to thank Mayor Pugh and Dr. Bundley and the MOAAME for this prestigious award. Thank you for your time, and God bless you. Westside, stand up and give them a round of applause, please. Just stay right here.
Thank you all so very much for celebrating this man. When my biological brother is sitting in the back, somewhere Danny is here, and he always reminds me, he said, dude, isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? You graduated from Penn State, and I graduated from the State Penn. My brother Danny Bundley, who helped me know what strength is. Danny, stand up, man, real quick. I just want everybody to see my brother. That's my brother. So, Commissioner, Big Brother, Chief, Commissioner, and just strong black man.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate you. And with appreciation, we thank you for your strength, your guidance, and your service that lights the path for others to follow across Baltimore City and across this country. Thank you for being a role model and not a model playing a role. Thank you for showing us what good policing looks like, caring about the people you serve. And we're going to get back there. Yeah. We're on our way back there. Because when we demand some stuff through strength and love, we get there. And so thank you again. You are a model and an exemplar of direct action. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Look, can I leave this in for